is Wednesday, 16th February 2022. Welcome to News Update live on Today Ghana News TV. We are live on satellite via Twitch for our viewers in Eastern European countries and live on all social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube on Today Ghana News TV and also on anchor.fm/podcast at Today Ghana News TV. It promises to be 45 minutes of comprehensive news updates. My name is Joyce Ohenewaa Kwapong, and now the headlines. Church leaders meet with President John Dramani Mahama. Fix the Country activists express concerns about the continuous detention of their boards. Government to build a brand new regional hospital at Dambai. We have this and more coming up shortly, so please stay tuned. I will be back with more details. In our first story, Fix the Country convener Mr. Oliver Barker-Vormawor has been charged with treason felony after he made comments on social media that have deemed to be a coup threat. The Ashaman District Court on Monday, February 14, 2022, remanded Mr. Barker-Vormawor into police custody till February 28. Mr. Barker-Vormawor was arrested on February 11th upon his return to the country. Speaking to journalists, some members of this group lamented about the injustice meted out on their boards.
Justice is not served. The cause of this land rise. Everybody deserves the same treatment as a country. We can't be living in a country where some people will be treated differently, and some people will be treated differently. Now you've seen everything that is going on. Whatever that is going on right here is supposed to be an uprising for everybody as a citizen in this country. If the Constitution says we are all, obliged to the same law, no one is above the law, then why is it that some people will be allowed to go scot-free just because they are affiliated to certain political parties? What is it that he said that is so tantamount that he is even denied, to speak to the media? What is it that he has done that we've not heard about in this country before? Just about a month ago, a guy in camera said the chief or the king of Asante should permit him to go and slaughter a chief, the Doma chief, and no one has said nothing about it, not even a public caution, nothing has been said about this issue. We were all in this country where a lot of treason comments have been made and nothing has been done about it. Nobody is saying Oliver is above the law. That is not what we are saying. What we are saying is the law needs to be applied according to everybody. We are all not above the law. Nobody is above the law in this country. And if it happens to Kojo, it is supposed to happen to Kofi. That is all we are saying. Yeah. Justice must be served. And no matter what, one day, justice will be served. Arrange Ghana youth. Oliver is here
to speak to us on this issue. Joining us live from Arizona, US, tonight is Dr. Sekou Nkrumah, a socio-political analyst. He is also the former Chief Executive Officer of National Youth Authority, and more importantly, the last son of the founder of Ghana, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So, sir, you are welcome to Today Ghana News TV News Update. Mr. Sekou Nkrumah, you are welcome to News Update on Today Ghana News TV. All right, so he will join us shortly, but then let's move on to other details of tonight's news as we try to reach Dr. Sekou Nkrumah. All right, so now to our second story. Some Christian groups. All right, so great. We've been able to reach out to Dr. Sekou Nkrumah and would want to quickly interact with him. Good evening, Dr.
Yeah,
Nkrumah.
I can't hear you. The reception is very poor.
Is it quite better, please?
Hello?
Can you hear me, please? Hello, can you hear me, please? I
can hardly hear you. The reception is kind of, keep on cutting. Yeah, a bit now.
All right, it's better, right?
Yes.
If you can kindly check your internet connectivity. All right. Okay, so you're welcome to News Update on Today Ghana News TV. Dr. Nkrumah, we spoke to Mr. Oliver Vomawa on this channel not long ago, and he seems to exude a very gentle and harmless persona. Do you also see him in the same light? Okay, unfortunately, his internet is not really stable, so we hope to get him live so that he talks to us on this issue of discussion. Now to our second story. Some Christian groups in Ghana made up of the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council paid working visits to former President John Dramani Mahama and asked him and his party, the NDC, to find a common ground with government to pass the controversial e-levy bill. The meeting, which was held behind closed doors, was attended by the top leadership of the opposition, NDC, and some members of parliament and the clergy.
We are here on a peace mission, very peaceful. We have come, as I have introduced ourselves, as heads of churches of the various associations and groupings in Ghana. Our history has it that the church has played a very significant role in our development and in the welfare of our people. So as major stakeholders, when things become of concern, we are all to take it up and see how best we can find answers and resolutions to it, so that at the end of the day, what we preach and what governance is all about can be achieved, all to the glory of God. Getting to the last quarter of last year, we all experienced what our country has never experienced before, maybe from the very beginning, from the very first month, when we had our parliament as it is now. As you rightly mentioned, whether we have a minority or have a majority, but the hung parliament. When it came to the hilt, when they were about closing with the introduction of the budget and the e-levy and what went on the last but one day of Parliament, where there were exchanges resulting in some fights and all that. And the churches or the Christian bodies became alarmed and said, we will not sit, but we want to take a very bold step in seeing how best together we can find solution to it. So we have made various approaches. We have met the Minister of Finance, we have met the majority in Parliament, the head, we've met some members of the minority. We also met the Minister of Finance again for discussions. Then our last meeting was with the president of the nation. When we also had a very fruitful interaction with the Speaker of the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. And we saying that there are other major stakeholders for whom we need to also make approaches and see how best we can find answers to what is happening to us, looking at all the circumstances and the conditions around us, especially what is happening in our sub-region, not only looking at what is happening here in our country, but what is even around our sub-region. And it became very necessary at our meeting that the series of interventions and interactions, we cannot leave His Excellency, the former president, behind, but to also make a move to see him and see how best we can all have discussions and look at what is happening to us in our country, and if there is a way out by which we can all look at it and come to a resolution.
To get a detail of, what our concerns are, you will understand the viewpoint from which we are coming. But I do think that this meeting is timely, and it's good to hear from all sides. And I'm sure that by the time you have heard what we have to say, you realize that the problem is much deeper than you think. And that's why I brought some of the MPs here. That fight was a fight for democracy. There's no way a speaker can sit in the chair, relinquish the chair, let somebody else come and sit in it, and take a vote in something that he has presided over. The Constitution is clear. You take a voice vote, ayes or nays. If somebody challenges it, it means that we don't agree with your choice. So you, the speaker, must sit in the chair and do a division. And then you say, I've done the division, the accounting, I'm now going to get out of the chair and let the second deputy speaker who has voted come and sit in so that I can also go and vote. Our Constitution doesn't allow that. And it was felt that our MPs should sit timidly and let them pass this unconstitutionality. It won't happen. And so, yes, I'm happy that that rowdy scene has woken your consciences that you must intervene, because there's a lot that is happening in this country that if we don't intervene, it would upset our democracy. The Fourth Republic has been the most enduring, and we must protect it. And all of us must stand up and protect it. Dialogue is not just the only issue. Dialogue comes from the ruling party. We are in opposition. We have nothing. If the ruling party says come and dialogue, of course we'll come and we'll sit and dialogue. If you are bringing something like e-levy, why was there no dialogue before you introduce it in Parliament? It's only after you introduce it and there's a pushback, then you say come and let's dialogue. But you go and set your 1.75% and then you bring it and say, because there's a pushback, the country is pushing back, the minority is pushing back, then you say, okay, let's dialogue. Okay, I'll give you 1.5. It's like we are negotiating in Makola. E-levy is not a problem. E-levy is a symptom of what has gone on for the last 4 years. Government feels that it can ride roughshod over everybody, take its own decisions, bring anything into Parliament, do whatever it likes, pass any, decisions that it wants without dialoguing. After all, we're 169. And so the current 137 is a withdrawal symptom. And so government has to climb down from its high horse and realize that the people of Ghana have been tired of that tyrannical, dictatorial majority rule that they have carried out. Without consensus building, without dialogue, even if you're 169, it still helps to
We have been joined on the line by Mr. Anane Elias Kwesi, a political activist and NDC Deputy National Youth Organizer, Hopeful, to speak to us about the issue. So, Mr. Kwesi, welcome to News Update on Today Ghana News TV.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Joyce. Let me say a very good evening to my viewers all over the world. As earlier introduced, my name is Anani Elias, an aspirant for the portfolio of Deputy National Youth Organizer, hopefully for the National Democratic Congress, the large opposition party. It's a great pleasure for me to be granted a media space, and particularly I'm grateful to Today Ghana News for giving me a media space to express my viewpoint on the subject matter, church leaders meeting with former President Mahama, a call for national unity. Now, may I say that my presentation is going to touch on three folds, and having done, I would conclude by touching on the subject matter holistically and as a whole. First of all,
so Mr. Elias, all right, before you touch on what you have prepared for us tonight, would want to probe your indulgence on a few questions, and then you can also proceed to add on to what you have.
That's fine.
Okay, so what do you think about the church leaders meeting with the former president with regards to finding a common ground for the passage of the e-levy bill?
Very well. To begin with, I think that we need to look at what the church leaders are, and let's look at what the e-levy is, and then we can marry the two, and then we can move forward on that. First of all, church leaders are oftentimes most respected figures in our community that represent different denominations, and then they play a significant role in the shaping opinions, attitudes, and then behavior for the development of our community. Now, the e-levy, on the other hand, is an electronic transaction levy, which is a policy directive that has been introduced from the Ministry of Finance that would be imposed on Ghanaians, that they want to charge some level of tax component on the electronic transactions. Now, a common ground for this to flow is that, first of all, before a bill would be implemented or a bill in its formative state comes to play, there is a need for stakeholder consultation. Now, that brings to bear when the formation of a bill. Now, it could come from maybe the government, a private member, that is an individual, or it could come from an organization or an institution. Now, on this matter, the bill is coming from the government of Ghana. And so even before the draftmen in their wisdom could come out with the letter, it is prudent and then it is culpable of them that they should have done stakeholder consultation, for which even the religious leaders should have been involved and their view on that. Now that the bill has been let out of the bag, or the cat has been let out of the bag, and it's in the public domain with all this agitation, I don't think there will be a common ground for this bill to have its passage. Nonetheless, I think that it should be scrapped off totally, so that we could look at what you call other tax components that could raise revenue for the country.
All right. Well said. I would want to further ask you, what do you think prompted this meeting? Because the government has to their advantage the numbers in Parliament to pass this e-levy bill. What could have actually prompted this meeting?
All right, let me correct an impression here. In the Fourth Republic, as it stands, the 8th Parliament, they don't have the numbers, but they have what we call majority caucus, because the independent candidate has stated his stance clearly that he will do business with the majority group. And so that should mean that they have a majority caucus, but they don't have a majority in Parliament. Now, fast forward, it should mean that with their numbers, they cannot still pass through, because it's a hung Parliament, as I've earlier elucidated on that. Yeah. So I'm sure that what they need to do is that they should still repeal the bill and then get back to our traditional way, which is the toll booth should come into force and other stuff, because this e-levy as a subject matter is going to discourage what the electronic transactions should have meant. For instance, previously, we used to carry cash of about 10,000, which should be carried in Ghana must go. And it has been reported, and the reportage states that we have series of armed robbery when people are going to the bank or they are from the bank. And so, in the wisdom of technology, they have created a platform where I can have about 100,000 Ghana cedis, old currency, 1 billion on my mobile phone, on my bank account, even in my e-wallet that is on air, and I can transact business without any difficulty in social vices, if you like. But then the introduction of the e-levy, I beg to relate this to the GN Bank when they were asked to, uh, uh, they were demoted to service and then a loan company where there were panic withdrawals. We're going to have such situation come up again where people are going to withdraw their money. And so I am well aware that the telcos have petitioned Parliament of Ghana, the Speaker of Parliament, and even Cabinet that they should come up with a proper consultation with them. There's a proper way they're going to show them that they can tax on electronic charges rather than this obnoxious tax called the e-levy, which is going to affect the telcos as well.
Well explained. Mr. Nane, would you encourage the leadership of the NDC to cooperate with the government to pass this bill?
A big no to that question, because suffice to note that President Mahama, as the flag bearer of the NDC, has been elected by the grassroots of the NDC. That is, the whole NDC fraternity has elected him to lead the NDC in governance. Now, in Parliament, our 137 MPs have been elected democratically by their constituents through a pool. And so they represent both the flag bearer and then the members of Parliament represent the people of their various constituency and the NDC in fraternity. Now, let me link this to the town hall meetings that has been held, and the MPP keep having town hall meetings. You would have realized that the renditions and submissions that comes on the table is that no, the e-levy should be repealed. And so how would it be that the leadership of the NDC, in their own wisdom, as we have elected them and trusted power into their hands, you should know that to whom much is given, much is expected. And so we cannot just allow them to kill our mothers, our market women, and then the layman on the street, the kayayos. You could see what happened last week when the demonstration was going on with their pants on their head. That means that they are carrying their burdens in addition to the yet to be passed e-levy. And so it's a no deal. The leadership of the NDC should not attempt to even come to a table of an agreement with the ruling party to accept an e-levy.
All right. Well said. So as you mentioned earlier, you had a little presentation for us. I don't know if you would want to proceed with that or you would want to give us your final word.
Very well. Thank you once again. As I was about saying, I want to begin with, it's important to spell out that my presentation would take three forms. And the first form is to look at what the church leaders are. That's very important. Let's look at who President Mahama is, and then we look at what nation building is. Now, with church leaders, I have earlier explained that they are oftentimes most respected figures in our community who helps in shaping the attitudes, opinions, and behaviors of our community. Experientially, individuals such as William Wilberforce, Martin Luther, John Calvin, and then the Wesleyan brothers of ancient, that's John and then Charles Wesley. And then in recent times, we have Martin Luther King Jr., have all left their marks for everyone to see what church leadership, when brought to bear on a nation or a system, is capable of doing. And so it is important that as it is in governance, our leadership should have a role in playing. Then looking at who former President Mahama is, he is a visionary leader who purports to be the former president of the Republic of Ghana and the flag bearer for the National Democratic Congress. And you know, this man has his legacy all over the world. That stands, that you realize that whatever he does, you can point hands at. And so it is important that we should bring some of those visionary people in a nation building capacity to the table of consultation, whilst we want to do the stakeholder consultation, or if we want to build the nation. Now, a call for national unity as proposed by the religious leaders who went to meet President Mahama. It's in nation building. It is an analytical tool that drives a nation or a state or a country into an undivided or unbroken completeness or totality with nothing wanting. Therefore, if we want to holistically build the nation wanting nothing, then it means that the first approach should be that we should do a proper consultation. Not when it gets rotten, that is when we should try to be consulting as if we are doing something. So it is pertinent that broad consultation, as they say, is a recipe to good decision making. So I advise that going forward, the religious leaders, as they are in Council of State, they should consult and consult better. President Mahama's door has always been open for consultation, that he will lend his expertise in building the nation. And so that far, I think that I want to advise that a slip tongue damages more than a slip foot. And so we should be careful what we say out there, particularly concerning this e-levy. We shouldn't just suppose to say all is well. No, we are only trying to put the ruling party on their toes so that if they want to do a very good tax system, then they should come up with something proper. I think I would use this opportunity to ask your media station to someday invite me so that we go through what the tax system is and how to impose tax on individuals, that even the citizens of a country would have paid the tax just like the UK system, but they won't demonstrate and then agitate over it, because it's a legitimate thing. It's a revenue component that helps in nation building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elias Anane, and also your request will duly be granted by Today Ghana News TV. So you definitely hear from us. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to engage you in the future. Have a great evening. All right, so let's now continue with our third story. Dambai, the capital city of Oti region, will get a brand new regional hospital to suit its status as a regional capital. Responding to a question in Parliament by the Member of Parliament of Karachi East, the Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Ajiman Menu, explained that Dambai has been earmarked as one of the beneficiaries of the government's Agenda 111 hospital program announced by the President last year.
We provided a municipal hospital to make healthcare easily accessible to residents of the entire catchment area. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Dambai has been captured under the Agenda 111 to provide the Karachi East municipality with a municipal hospital. Dambai, however, happens to be the regional capital of Oti region as well. Therefore, a turnkey arrangement and financing are under discussions to provide a regional hospital in Dambai, since it is a capital of the newly created Oti region. Funding has been sourced and the necessary procurement processes are underway. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, so I don't know if Dr. Seku Nkrumah is still live. We would want to capture him, and then we would call it a night. All right, as we are trying to still get hold of him, let's proceed to read some comments from our social media people, and then we will get back to Dr. Seku Nkrumah from our audience on social media. Okay, so this is from Buffalo Critics, and he says, great presentation, Prof. Kwekwadi says, Mr. Anane is very good, and I think he will be an asset to his party. Gideon Teria, great decision. Patience Dako, I would love to see you more in African print, like the Speaker of Parliament. You look beautiful. Thank you so much, Patience Dako. VIS Ghana comes in to say, I am enjoying the news from Edukrom in the Eastern region. Former President Mahama spoke well to the church leaders. God bless Ghana. Kwekwadi comes in again to say, good evening, watching you live from Amsterdam. Patience Darko comes in with another message. Good evening, Ohenewaa and your guests. You're looking so beautiful tonight. We miss watching live from Germany. Thank you so much, Patience Darko, for the compliment. Keep watching us. So I don't know if we've been able to get hold of Dr. Seku Nkrumah. Okay, so unfortunately, we are unable to get hold of him. But in the course of the week, we are done with tonight's news updates. And on that note, we end tonight's news updates, and we thank you all for being with us tonight. We bring you up to speed on the latest happenings. And so don't forget to follow and subscribe to our social media handles on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at Today Ghana News TV. Once again, my name is Joyce Ohenewaa Kwapong. Have a good night.